Hi, everyone. Agnes here, and Shamika is with me from North Carolina. Hello, Shamika.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Nice to meet you in person. I actually put up a little post saying that I wanted to have a chat with some of the viewers on my channel, and you were the first one to respond. And you have got 5 questions for us to discuss. So I'm interested to see what you're going to talk about, because I made a decision not to have any knowledge of your questions in advance, because it's always more fun if it's spontaneous.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Okay, let me dig into my bag of questions here. So, and I don't know if you need like the kind of the small little backstory to go with it so that the question makes sense. But
Sure.
I find that I have a lot of people, as I'm working on my self-concept, as always,
Yep.
I find that a lot of people tend to text me their problems, and it goes on and on and on, like their relationship drama. And then I feel like I'm taking on that energy. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that can affect your own self-concept in trying to manifest your own SP.
Good question. I would say yes in the short form. In the longer form, I think it's you are working with everyone as you pushed out too. So whenever I'm working with someone, it's not me helping you, it's not me helping them. You as a coach, I think, have to get out of the I'm helping people. You're not helping people. You are delivering knowledge, and you are basically working with your own reflection. So if you remember everyone's you pushed out and you're working with the same problem over and over and over, that tells you you've got something in you that you still need to work on. So I never think I am in a helping role, because that's an energy drain in itself.
Yes.
If my partner we have a lot of conversations because he's got 4 degrees and they're all relating to very similar things that I work with. So we have a lot of very interesting conversations between the two of us. And when I had a moment where I said to him, I feel drained, and if this is affecting my personal life, it's affecting my energy. He said, are you open to hearing, what I think about this? I said, yeah, that's why I'm talking to you about it. He said, because you think you're helping. That's why you're draining your energy. And you also are over investing in them getting it the way you want them to get it. And when you stop that and you come back and go, okay, I am here with this person for an hour, and then I'm going to look at my own self and go, what is it in that conversation that I still need to work on? So if people are in get mode around relationships, then I've got to say to myself, okay, where do you need to iron out your own energy around? Are you in any getting? Are you expecting people that are getting from you? Where's the dynamic in this? Where is this you pushed out? So it's always, when I work with people, it is a fantastic self-reflection for me.
Okay, because I kept thinking, I'm like, what is it about me that these people keep telling me all their problems? And it's like, 10 texts and like all at once. And it's just, it is very draining, but you're correct. I think I'm like, let me give them advice. And it's like, I'm drained after that.
But okay, let me ask you something. Is it 10 texts from people that you're working with, or 10 texts from friends?
All these texts are from friends, like friends that are just, it almost, and it's overwhelming because I'm like, I'm dealing with my own stuff, but then they're dumping theirs onto me, and then I'm trying to give them advice, but at the same time, I don't want to hear it.
Well, you know what? I remember getting quite aggravated with friends because of the job I do. I don't have the bandwidth that I used to. Because I need to take care of myself, and then I need that energy to be able to not help, but deliver information And so it's like you're teaching people to fish rather than you're giving them a fish. It's helping them help themselves, if you really want to use the word helping. But so I thought, okay, I can feel my aggravation with the people that I know, my personal life.
Yes.
And I've said to my friends, look, because of the work I do not have hours worth of energy to listen to problems. And some days I can do it for a little bit, but now what I say to my friends, you're smart, you'll work it out. That's my line. You're smart, you'll work it out. And not saying that you go into total uncompassion, but these days I've got friends that are smart, that do work it out. And if we've got something to discuss, the conversation goes more like this. I've been really struggling with control or hanging on at the moment. Okay, what is it that you feel like you're hanging on for? I'm just not feeling secure. Okay, so what sort of things can help fuel that feeling of security? Right. Oh, I haven't done my meditation for a while. I've seen a really good meditation. I've been using it myself. So we share more from a place of solution than from a place of, let's just go to Agnes and dump all our stuff because she does this for a job.
Gotcha.
Very different conversation. But it's almost like you got to train your friends in that direction.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. I'm like avoiding text because I'm like, I don't want to hear it. So that makes sense. I know. And I think too, a part of it with friends is setting boundaries, I mean, I've got one friend, she's continually going back to people that abuse her. And I said recently, look, you have told me this for 6 years. I don't understand why you keep going to people again and again that abuse you, but, each to their own. But I don't want you coming and then telling me the same story about you being a victim. I said, I do not want to hear this anymore. Because I said, you know what it does? It actually makes me feel angry now that you do this to yourself. And it makes me feel angry that when I've worked during the day, not helping, listening to people, and then dissolving my own stuff around it, working on anything that I need to in terms of everyone's you pushed out. I don't want to be doing this when I'm sitting in a coffee shop for an hour and a half. I do not. And it's like, It's almost like you got to allow yourself to be disliked by the people that are used to using your energy because they're too lazy to use their own. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Because I also think, and going back to the point of the text messages, there are always like, I notice certain keywords that are continuously popping up, and it comes back to me as, and I pointed it out to a friend, the word insecure comes out a lot. Yeah. And I'm like, is it me? Because I don't feel insecure, but I just noticed that a lot of the words, and with one person, it's always about somebody being insecure, when I think that it's them that's insecure. But then I thought, is it me that's really insecure? Because I don't feel that way. So it's interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the thing is, if you're looking at everyone's you pushed out, it's not because you see insecurity that you're insecure. It's not a mirror image. I'll give you an example. Everyone is you pushed out. If let's say a woman continually says, he's stubborn, he's stubborn, he's stubborn. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if I'm that woman that's saying that, then I'm looking at the person being stubborn. But if I'm really looking at myself inside, it's that I'm trying to control him to give me something he doesn't want to give. Okay. So there's the me pushed out, you see. Gotcha. So it might be the control, it might be being demanding, it might be wanting to get, it might be trying to get more than the other person wants to give at that moment. But if a woman is constantly saying, or even regularly, he's stubborn, he's stubborn, he's stubborn, then the you pushed out part is you are saying, I'm not getting enough, I'm not getting enough, I'm not getting enough, I want more, I want more, I want more. And that's in you. That's on you to fix that. That's on you to correct that. So that's the everyone's you pushed out. Okay. It's not a mirror. It's more of a boomerang.
Gotcha. So that brings me to my next question, actually.
Yeah.
Because, and now that you just said that, I'm like, okay, now I sound controlling. Because I want my SP to be consistent with communication, and I want them to basically be the way they were in the beginning. And it feels like it's dropped off. And maybe I am in that get mode of I want you to do this, I want you to do this, I want this, I want this, I want this. So I don't know how to flip that. How do you flip that?
Good question. And look, I think a lot of women say this. I think this is something that a lot of women say, and in gay relationships too. But if you are saying, okay, I want him to be the way he used to be, well, then you got to be the way you used to be too. So you got to go back and go, okay, I was more free, I was more playful, I didn't have an investment in what he was doing or not doing because we were just getting to know each other. So it's like you have to go back to, there's enough love, there's enough time. I don't need you to change. I need to relax into my own love, and that there's enough of it, you know. And Shamika, irregardless of the years I've been doing this, I can still on the odd occasion fall into that. Oh, well, he hasn't spent enough time with me because he's doing this, he's doing that.
Right.
Hang on a minute. You're doing the old state. The hands on hips, quietly demanding energy. You said nothing on the outside, but your energy is still hands on hips. So it's like, okay, I got to surrender this in me. I got to look at this like this quiet demandingness in me. I got to admit to myself that I am looking to him to make me feel loved. And the way I feel loved is if he gives me more time. And you know what? My partner said to me years ago, and it was a slap in the face, but it was a great comment, and I will never forget it. He said to me, I was not put on the planet just to meet your needs. Now, ouch, that hurt. But I was in that, you know, you're not giving me enough. You're not giving me enough. You're not giving me enough. And I thought, oh, I am looking at him and I'm not looking at me. And this is a ugly part of my character. Do not want to be that woman. But it can come back. It can. And it's looking at, if I'm having these thoughts about he's not, you know, it is very important to go, oh, my dialogue has dropped in terms of I've got low grade thinking here about another person that I think, oh, well, you used to be great. Now you're not. What a horrible thing to assume. The law of assumption, the law of projection. So the law of attraction brings me back the photocopy of that person not doing as much as they did. Or they're too caught up in their own lives, or they make other people a priority, because it is me that is not very nice to be around when I'm in that, you know, stuff.
So that makes sense. Like, because I actually just, I do EFT tapping as well. So in my tapping session, I was saying, I don't understand why it keeps happening with any guy I date from a certain point in my life to now, whereas the communication is good in the beginning and then it just stops or it drops, and we're still in that getting to know each other phase, or getting to re-know each other. I don't know if that's re-know, if that's the word, reacquainted, getting to know each other again, because I've known this guy for years and we just reconnected, but I'm like, this is not going like I thought it was. Why isn't he like putting me on the pedestal? And I'm like, oh, I got to put me on the pedestal and look in here.
And I think too, it's probably even more than that. It's about seeing the relationship for the benefit of both people. And seeing the relationship as no one needs to be on a pedestal. We can just both be on the ground, you know, like, and be at equal footing, and that you say things like, this is things you can replace it with. I love how we understand each other. I love how this is the best relationship we've ever had. I love how we communicate. I so love how we laugh. I love how we watch Netflix. I love how we cook together. I love how he thinks of me and I think of him. Two givers in a relationship is a wonderful thing. I'm so thrilled that this relationship gets better and better. Instead of looking at the decline, you rise it up. So, but it's catching yourself doing it and making the conscious choice to rise it up. And then you treat them as if they love you instead of energetically, mentally, emotionally vibrating out. I'm not getting enough. They used to be there. I don't like them now. Why aren't they like that? Every man does this, and on you go. And you keep that collective consciousness that a lot of women have about men, which we got from our mothers, our grandmothers, and in those generations, a man was a woman's security. These days, I think it's more two people being together and really to have a meaningful, loving, connected, romantic, sexual relationship is that you think about your partner and you treat them with love in your mind. You treat them with love in your energy. You treat them with love. And I'm not saying being a doormat and you do everything and they do nothing. That's not what I mean. So you give, but you give after you filled your own cup. And when your thinking goes down that horrible rabbit hole and gains momentum, you go, hang on a minute. I've been focusing on problem thinking, on what he isn't, on what I don't like. And that I am not doing this relationship I'm doing the relationship a disservice by watering the problem plant instead of watering the solution plant within me.
That makes sense. My next question, because I felt myself going down that rabbit hole over the weekend. We actually had a conversation and it didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. And I got really annoyed and mad. I mean, he hung up in my face and I was like, one side of me is like, call him back and cuss him out. But I was like, no, old me would have done that. But no, I was like, no, I'm not giving this energy. Of course, I cried for a second, got over it, started being busy with other things with my friends. But how in that moment, like, do you keep yourself from reacting? Oh, I had sent out, like I had typed out a whole text ready to hit send, but I was like, don't do it. Do not react to this. Because it's just going to blow up into something bigger. And it really was nothing to be that. I don't think it was. When I thought back on it, I was like, what did I really need in that moment? Like, I was at work and busy and I'm mad because I didn't get to finish saying what I wanted to say. Like, so I guess I'm asking like how to handle your reaction in situations that you don't like.
Look, I think what you did already, you wrote the text, you felt the reaction, you thought, screw you, tap, 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 and then you're about to hit send and something in your consciousness goes, where this goes. You're pouring petrol on the fire. Do not do it. So you go, okay, I'm going to pull in. I don't think it's about not having an internal reaction. I think when you love someone, I think when someone, can't be there because they're at work or they're with somebody else or whatever, you do take it, you interpret it as you're not important, you don't matter.
Yes.
So you go, okay, interesting. I did that, but I didn't send the text. So that's good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and dismantle this before we have another conversation. And, you got to go into where it's hit you, and it hits you. It opens an old wound. This stuff often comes from childhood. And it kicks us in that spot and it feels bruised. So you go, okay, I'm going to go and process my emotions. And, I'll give you an example. There was something that happened to me in the last 3 days. Now, nothing was going on in my relationship, but what I saw really triggered off for me that the way, okay, I saw this man with his daughter and I could see how loving and kind he was. And I thought, why is this upsetting me? And I thought, that's because my dad never did that with me. This hit me. It hit me in an old spot. Now, I've been doing this work for a long time, but life and things that you see, music, situations, things that people say, movies, all these things have a possibility to get in and hit you in an old thing. I thought, okay, not this again. I haven't worked. I mean, I don't get hit that often like that. It's been at least a year since I've had a massive emotional internal reaction to something. So I thought, oh, this is unresolved stuff. So I sat down and I thought, my friend and I, we do law of attraction together. We talk about going to the mats, like you got to go and lay on your mat and process your emotions. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go and deal with this. And I could feel the old stuff around, my father not being there. He was always in the background. Why couldn't my dad have been like this? And look how loving this person is towards their children. And I could feel that I really missed out in that area, you see. Now, it's easy to say that with your head and go, okay, no biggie. You're an adult now. You've got a wonderful relationship or whatever. But it wasn't the adult in me that was suffering. I got kicked in the inner child, and the inner child was saying, you need to let me feel this and let it out. So it took about 48 hours to fully let it go, because I kept going back into the pain of it, and then it needed to be released. So it's like your body's a suitcase. It's holding all these emotions, and you never know which situation is going to kick you in the suitcase and crack it open. So that one thing really wiped me out for about 48 hours. And I thought, well, that's okay. I work from home. I shut the door. I don't need to go out. I live right now. I'm on my own. My partner's not here. Perfect time to sort this out. So it was processing the old emotions so that thing I can look upon as a beautiful thing rather than I missed out on that. That really upsets me, So, and that's the stuff we take in towards our relationships, you see. So we need to make time, whether you're male or female, young or old, gay or straight, doesn't matter. We need to allow that part of us to let that stuff out. And sometimes you go, this is ridiculous. I'm older now. This shouldn't, but it still lingers. It's still, the past is still alive in us, as Neville says, you see. So you got to make time for it. And when you're, whether you're talking to friends and trying to hopefully give your friend relief, or you're working with a client or whatever, it's like you got to deal with your own stuff so that you can go in as neutral as possible, to be able to be objective about what you're hearing. Otherwise your clients can trigger off your stuff. And we've all got the same stuff. We all were given birth to by a woman, and we all probably had a father around for a little while, whether he or, there's sperm donors, of course, but you would have had one parent there at some point, and the absence of parents, the presence of parents that did things they probably didn't do very well, all of that accumulates and it affects us. So, it's just saying, what? It's okay. This is the emotional scale that Abraham Hicks talks about. We have to work with it. You don't have to be in the vortex all the time. And, I was well out of the vortex. I was down the other end of the football field for 2 days on this one, because it hit me right in the ribs. And I thought, ow, this is something I haven't felt for a long time. So you just got to make the time, like you make time to cook and eat, you make time to let these old emotions out, and then you free yourself. And then if your partner doesn't spend time with you because he's at work or he can't take your call, you don't take that hit. You go, oh yeah, no worries, talk to you later, and you hang up and you go and you do something, and your mind's not still stuck there of the rejection.
Gotcha. Makes total sense. So I was curious though about, like, where is my question? So even seeing other people, and I know you've mentioned birds before land in your videos, but seeing people like right now, I'm looking for a job. And so I feel like everybody like close to me just landed a six-figure paying job. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? You know,
Yeah.
or they're getting engaged, or all these things that I have on my vision board. Like I even had one friend literally got every single thing that I had like scripted out, like with her SP. They're now married, and I'm still sitting here like, what happened?
Yeah.
What I've done, like even from the vacations to the proposal, everything she got it. So
Yeah.
what is that like? I don't even know what that means, if it is birds before land or if it's reflecting something on me, because then I end up feeling like,
Yeah.
oh, it's not fair. Why isn't it happening here? I feel
Yep.
stuck. All those things.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you're going, I should be really happy for these people, but yeah, what about me?
Right.
You know? So yeah, I get it. I get it. I think, yes, if you can look at it as, because you do, again, you take the hit, you have that reaction, then you go, you shouldn't be feeling like this. You know better. You're like,
Right.
your turn will come. Yeah, well, it hasn't come now. It came to them first. And you got this ping pong conversation going
Yes.
on. You go, okay, I feel like I'm missing out. I feel like I never get stuff first. I feel like other people always get things before me. What about me? I'm angry. This is pissing me off. And then you've got the ball starts bouncing down the stairs. And I think, you know what? Human reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Human.
Yeah.
What you do with it, though, is go, okay, I'm really feeling that because I really want those things. That's why I'm feeling it, because and I'm finding, I'm at a similar moment where I'm seeing about 3 or 4 people manifest something that I've wanted to manifest for probably about 8 years. And I haven't been able to get there. And I had the same as you. I thought, WTF,
Right.
I just saw it. So you go, okay, that tells me I still really want it. That tells me that I think there's a scarcity. There's not enough for me. Okay. Where does that come from? Well, childhood, because I grew up poor. That's where that came from.
Yeah.
Let's say, so you go, okay. So you go, okay, I have got in my head, and I am hurting myself because I think there's a finite amount, or that I get looked over. It's like I'm standing there, and this is, I'm going to say this, and I know some people won't agree with it, but that's fine. That's why I don't like the affirmation, I'm chosen, because it's like you're sitting there going, well, what about me? Pick me. I'm chosen. I'm chosen. I'm chosen. It puts you in the, I'm waiting for something out there to make me feel like I'm important, like being picked for the basketball team, and they pick you one at a time, and you're standing there. And I think that affirmation's never worked for me, because what it does is it makes me feel like I've got to wait to be picked by the outside person, the outside job, the outside whatever it is, that once I'm picked, then I'm okay. So if I go from I am whatever it is, say married, I am in the best relationship I've ever had. I am, and I've got to get out of the old, because what you get hit with is you're in the old state of being, which is, I haven't bloody well got what I want.
Yes.
And this person's just cracked it. And you know what? I want to be happy for them, and I am happy for them on some level, but what about me in that moment? So you go, okay, I'm in lack. I need to change states, because seeing that has actually thrown me into a negative state. And it's thrown me into, I haven't got it. I haven't got it. I haven't got it. What about me? What about me? What about me? So you go, okay, I'm going to read my script, which is my living from it. I'm going to say, if I knew that I had that right now, how would I feel? And I would say to myself, I am worthy and I am deserving, just like that person is. And I'm going to say to myself, okay, I'm going to look at that as a birds before land, and I'm going to be grateful that I'm seeing movement around me.
Right.
Because if I'm seeing it around me, that means that my energy must be better because I'm seeing it. It's like people that want a red car and they don't, have it. And then all they see is red cars around and people, half their age driving it.
Right.
And they're going, well, you shouldn't have that. You just got your license, that should be mine. Right. So you start having that laughter of the scarcity mentality within you. You go, okay, my state is not in the right spot. I need to transit from state negative, haven't got, yearning, pining, wanting, and I need to get back into I am secure. And you know what? I can be happy without that. I'm going to be happy because I know I am secure and I am connected to source, and source will deliver everything to me. But I have moments where I really try, Shamika, and say, you know what, source or God, whether I get that thing or not, I never want to be where I'm not happy until I get it. That to me is an ugly part of my character if I'm in that. Right. And I will make the big effort to say, whether I ever get that or not, I'm going to be a grateful, humble, happy, and as best I can human being, that I don't need everything I want to be happy today. I'm not going to be dissatisfied, disgruntled, and miserable and like the Grinch who stole Christmas. I don't want to be that. I want to be where I can be. I can show myself and I can train myself that irregardless of it, whether I get it, I'm going to learn to be in a state of love, and I'm going to radiate love wherever I go from morning till bedtime as best I can. And that's my job. That's my job.
Okay. So the other, so I guess this might be the last question. Watching other coaches, and I wonder if even sometimes that is probably like, even when I mentioned putting myself on a pedestal, I was like, wait a minute, it's from watching so many videos of different coaches, just trying to find an answer. So I wondered like what your thoughts were on messing with the middle, because I see that so often. I may not click on the video from these other coaches when it says that, but I've had a friend mention that to me too. Like, is this messing with the middle if I'm trying to get this SP and I want to, I don't know, follow him on social media, or in my case, I'm like, if I text him first, am I messing with the middle? And why are there all these rules of who texts first, who calls first? If I want to talk, shouldn't I just call?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And I think if you've been an over contactor, I think you need to take the foot off the accelerator. Right. If you have been someone who expects the other person to do everything, I think you need to put your foot on the accelerator a bit. Yeah. I think any extreme, you've missed the beautiful balance in the middle. So I think people in relationships get tired of them doing everything and you doing nothing. And I know a lot of people look at the law of attraction that way. Well, I'm just going to not do anything and I'm going to wait for everything to come to me. Now, that I think is okay with cars, houses, jobs, all these things. Yeah. But in a relationship, what's it like for the other person when you don't do anything? They will eventually think, well, hang on a minute. Does this person want to be with me? Do they love me? Do they want me around? So I think finding the balance is a really good sweet spot. And I think it's two people giving, rather than one person over giving and one person taking, because that's still in balance, even though it's like this, it's still, the seesaw is still in balance, you see. So I think it's bringing it here, and you will move this way, that way, because it is a moving thing. It's not set in stone. Right. I think if you can get to that sweet spot where you go, okay, I'm going to give some, and then I'm going to make sure that I don't overdo, because I'm trying to control or manipulate or force. If those have been my character traits, I need to learn to allow. If I've been too allowing, that can be in the extreme really lazy. If you allow all the time and just lay around on the couch and don't do anything. Yeah. So especially with relationships, I think, so I think it's saying, okay, how can I water this with love? Is that one text? Is that a phone call? Is that telling someone who's having a hard time, look, I'm thinking of you because I know you're at a funeral today, and you're not sitting there going, oh, well, they're at a funeral, I'm not going to contact them at all, I'm going to wait for them to contact me. Sometimes giving that love and saying, hey, I know you're having a hard day today, I'm thinking of you, sending you lots of love, and I'm here when you need me. Mm-hmm. That is a mature and loving thing to do for that person if you are in an SP situation, you see.
Right.
So yeah, I think balance is a tricky spot to keep. You're constantly going, zigzagging a bit, and then you get out of balance because you haven't had enough sleep, or you not, other people are getting jobs and you haven't got one. All these things destabilize us, but you get back into balance by saying, okay, I have the most wonderful work I've ever had, and I earn 6 figures. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, you don't. Okay. So your head's starting the arguing. It's starting. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Your friends do, but you don't. Right. So you go, okay, but wouldn't it be nice if I did? And your whole body just relaxes and goes, hell yeah, that would be nice. It really would.
Yeah.
So then you start again. Wouldn't it be nice if I had the most amazing job where I earned 6 figures, And I had that, Shamika. I was working a job and I was exhausted and I'd injured my back. I had a year off and I'm thinking, what am I doing with my life? I don't know what I'm doing with work.
Right.
And then I was thinking about coaching, and I thought, coaching, who's going to coach? Who's going to let me coach them using Neville's teachings? Who would listen to that? Because in those days, I didn't know there was this whole sea of people that were into reading Neville. So right. If I said, oh, do you know Neville Goddard? People, would, in the beginning, it was like, well, no. It's like, okay, well, and you would give little bits of pieces for them to read. But it's like I went from a job where I was earning in the beginning $10 an hour, and in Australian dollars, that's 30% less than the US dollar. And then it was like, okay, I need to get to $20 an hour. So I got a next job was $20.25. Then I got better at my self-love and my self-worth, and I negotiated $50 an hour. And then I went, okay, I don't want to work for less than $100 an hour anymore.
Right.
And then I get that, that poor person in me who was used to working extremely hard for this little tiny amount of money would kick in and go, you're not worthy of $100 an hour. You're not. It's like, well, I'm going to try and stretch myself. So and the reason I'm talking about this is going back to your messing with the middle question.
Right.
I don't think going from $10 an hour to $25 an hour, from 25 to 50, from 50 to 100 is messing with the middle. I think that is you slowly stretching your belief system so that it doesn't snap. Because if I'd gone from $10 an hour to 100, my belief system would have gone, ha ha ha, that's never going to happen to you. And I never would have believed it. Never.
Right.
My parents were on welfare. That's not going to happen with my belief system that I grew up with. So it's like I had to do it. And that wasn't messing with the middle, because going from 10 to 25 was a manifestation of its own. From 25 to 50 was a manifestation of its own. From 50 to 100 was a manifestation of its own. So building that confidence in believability happened in steps for me. And I think, and I'm going to mention this one because we talked about being in a relationship and wanting to be married. People have got a specific person, they might have no contact with them, and they're imagining getting married. Now, my experience in working with people, that is too hard a jump. It's too big a jump. And people give up. So, but if you are not talking to your SP, or you're seeing them at a certain amount, but you are trying to imagine getting married, what about perhaps imagining having more regular contact, and that your relationship is getting better and better? And then you imagine getting engaged. That I find is easier believability jumps, because that's what I think they are, believability jumps. And that, in my experience, is easier for most people rather than jumping from 0 to 100 with nothing in the middle.
Okay, that would have actually answered another question that I had thought of, was can you manifest those things in like small pieces as you go along? So that answers that.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I'd be in Sydney, Australia, and I was working a job. And I remember thinking, okay, I'd like to be with my specific person in London. Okay, well, if you want to do that, here's the conversation I had with myself is, well, if you're working a job in Australia, you get 4 weeks off a year. You can't have a relationship with someone when you get 4 weeks off a year and the other 11 months you're back in Australia and he's in London, England. That's never going to happen. Mm-hmm. So then the thought process went, okay, so what would I need to be able to have and do to have this relationship? Well, I'd need to be able to come back and forth because I don't want to leave my mum in Australia on her own all the time.
Right.
And my partner is in London, so I need to be with him a certain amount of time. So ideally, I'd like to be able to work from home and take my work wherever I am and be able to go back and forth, which would require about $100,000 a year. Mm-hmm. So then I had the formula. I need $100,000 a year to do what I want to do, to pay for the airfares, to pay for the accommodation wherever I'm living, to pay for food, and to be able to have a flexible time. There's enough time. There's more than enough time. There's more than enough time. There's more than enough money. There's more than enough money. And there's more than enough love. So I had to practice that. And I'd say there's enough time, there's enough money, there's enough love. There's enough time, there's enough money, there's enough love. Because I always felt there wasn't enough time because I had to work the job. There wasn't enough money because I was only getting paid X amount. And there wasn't enough love because my love was in London and I felt unloved in Sydney. So I had to correct all three of those things within my belief system to be able to move around from place to place and enjoy both people, my mum, my partner, and my friends in Sydney, and be able to have that flexibility to do it when I wanted to. Mm-hmm. But that was a massive jump for me. I remember just laying in bed going, oh my God, this is too hard. There's too many factors. There's too many moving parts.
Yeah.
And then I thought, no. I drew on a piece of paper a triangle, Sydney, London, and then I put France because my family where I'm born is in France. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking ideally I have a triangle and I go between the three places.
Right.
So I drew a little plane with I drew a black isosceles triangle, which we've never used since school, but I did use an isosceles for this exercise.
I didn't even remember the name of the triangle.
Well, the only reason I remember, Shamika, is because I looked it up. I thought I want that one that's really pointy at the top and really long.
Funny. So
I looked it up and I remember thinking, oh, isosceles triangle. This is the first and probably the last time in my life I'm ever going to use this. So I ended up imagining this little plane moving from these 3 points. And I kept it tight. I kept it short. It was an imaginal scene. It meant something to me. I'm very visual, so it was cartoon-like, which was easy for me to imagine. Yeah. And I would just keep going with this imaginal scene. And I remember thinking, you have to let go of the how and you have to let go of when, because those are the two things that would create anxiety and stress. So I thought, I cannot go there. I have to just keep living from, which is the state of I am free. And that's what I practiced.
Okay. Yeah. That's another question. I'm like, how do you get to that? But because you just explained it, like, the how and the when. I couldn't figure out what was causing so much anxiety, but that's exactly what it is, the how and the when.
Yeah. And I think too, I mean, my friend said to me once, you got to stop saying the T word, because I kept saying, I feel trapped, I feel trapped, I feel trapped. She said, you got to stop saying that. And I went, oh my God, yeah, that's right. So I kept practicing. I thought, well, trapped means you can't do what you want when you want for as long as you want. And I thought, well, because for me, I am wealthy meant nothing. I did not ever feel wealthy. So saying those words still to this day doesn't work for me. Mm-hmm. I can see that they're good words. My head understands that they're good words, but my being will never understand that feeling because I grew up poor.
Mm-hmm.
So I am free, I can understand. And people that have money are free. So I had to go in that way. That was much easier for me to understand because when I had a day off, I could go walk on the beach in Sydney. I felt free on the weekend. Or, I mean, in those days I was working weekends, so it was often during the week. But you have to work out how to make it easier for yourself to have that believability. And for me, I am wealthy never worked, but I am free really worked because I knew what it felt like to be free after work.
Oh my gosh, this just like put a light bulb in my head because, and I even wrote it on this paper that I feel stuck. And I always say I feel stuck, or I'm stuck with this, or I'm stuck with that.
Yeah.
I am free.
Yeah. Well, you're stuck and my trapped were the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you do feel like you just, you can't move. And when you don't have a job that you like, or you don't have meaningful work that you love, and you keep thinking, what do I want to do? You know, I don't know what to do. I want to do something else. I want to do something fun. I want to do something that when I'm standing in the shower in the morning, I'm excited to get dressed to go and do it.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, that one worked really well for me, Shamika. I am free. I am free. And I would breathe in. I'd go, I am free. And I'd breathe out that trapped feeling, you know, because it's so constrictive in the body. You feel like you got the little white coat on, the straitjacket.
Right.
And I thought, it's like the more I keep saying from the frustration, I feel trapped. I feel trapped. I feel trapped. I'm glad I had my friend say, don't say that anymore. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, thank you for highlighting that. I should definitely stop saying that. And I replaced it with I am free, I'm free, I'm free. I have enough time. I have enough love. I have enough money. I have enough time. I have enough love, enough money. Go for that state.
Okay. Because I sometimes will go into that. Forget it. Just, I'm done. Forget it. You know, I do. And it's bad.
Yeah.
And so I see you now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to work on the I am free because I think that might make a huge difference.
Yeah. It's so much better. And it's an easier way. If you've had issues with money, you have issues with work, you know, I mean, I've got a friend, she was really wealthy. She had a $3 million house and then it burnt down and she lost everything. But for her, she knew what it felt like to be wealthy already.
Right.
So for her saying I am wealthy, to her, I said to her, what does feeling wealthy feel like to you? She said, it's like going to the supermarket and not looking at any of the prices and putting everything you want in the shopping trolley. And I went, God, I've never done that, ever.
Yeah. Wow.
You know? So that one thing for her was, I am really wealthy because I don't care how much this costs. And I thought, wow, that's such a simple thing.
Yeah.
But when she said that, I went, it has never, ever occurred to me to shop without looking at the prices at that point. Never. Because I thought I was never able to even consider that as a thought. Never. It's like, where's the cheapest crackers?
Right.
So, yeah.
That's too funny.
Oh, boy. So, yes, messing with the middle. I don't think doing it that way is messing with it. I think that is being sensible and stretching your belief system in increments that is much easier for you to then manifest stuff. Like when I tried to go from 0 to 100, I wasn't able to jump that quick. I would get frustrated and I think, screw this isn't working. Who can believe they're married when they're totally single and alone? Who can believe that, you know, I'm not saying some people can't. I do think there's a percentage of people that can, but it's a very low percentage and it's much easier for most of us, I think, to go into their little manifestations within the bigger manifestation. So yeah, but each to their own. However you find it easier, you know, you do it whatever way it works for you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like I've learned so much, and a lot has been like, oh, that's why this is like this. Especially that you know, it's a huge difference between stuck and free. Like
yeah, that is I use that one still a lot. You know, just whenever a negative emotion comes up, I go, hang on. you're feeling trapped again.
Mm-hmm.
You are creating the trap. So now you create the freedom. You got to set yourself free in your mind before you see it on the outside. So yeah, I always go back to that one. I am free. It's probably one of my most powerful affirmations of all time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it involves no one else giving you anything. It's for you.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Good conversation. Really good questions. I'm glad we didn't exchange the questions before, because it really makes you think on your feet, and it really makes you remember certain things that you might have forgotten, because the journey is, for me, it's been, since I was 17, when my mum first was listening to Louise Hay, and I used to think, oh my goodness, what is this? I can't listen to this. Whereas my mum had the right idea, but, I didn't apply it for years at all. Right. I remember just thinking, mum's lost the plot and she's listening to some stuff that I will never listen to.
Right.
So, yeah. So there you go. Well, lovely, lovely, lovely. And I'm glad that I picked you from that. You must have been beaming something, because I just thought, let's
I write every Sunday night, I write a list on my phone of things I want to manifest for the week.
Yeah.
And I think I wrote that I wanted to win something. So when I saw your message, I was like, I'm manifesting that.
You're writing your daily. I like that idea. I really like that idea. Actually, Shamika, before we log off, can you, because you have a YouTube channel, can you mention a bit about what you do too, so people can check you out as well?
Yes, it is called Check the Rhymes, and the rhymes is spelled RHYMES, like rhyming something. And so it's Check the Rhymes TV. And on Check the Rhymes TV, it is just pop culture. It's Gen X meets pop culture. So it's a lot of interviews with celebrities from the past and the present. It's just a lot of fun. And we always, one of the things that I started asking these celebrities is some of their favorite affirmations. And so it's been interesting how some of them absolutely have no idea what the word affirmation means. And some have some really good ones. So yeah, it's always a fun time.
Beautiful. Well, I'll put the link to, you will send me some links to different things, and whether you've got social media or a website or YouTube, and I'll put them down below so people can check that out.
Okay.
Thank you for spending an hour doing this. This has been great. I just, doing YouTubes on your own is really fun, but there's nothing like what ignites between two people in a conversation.
Agreed. I had so much fun. And actually, the questions that I wrote, some of them I didn't even ask. Like, they were just coming off the top of my head, but I guess that's my journalist side.
Wonderful. Well, do you want to say bye to everyone? And then I will, and then we can say bye in private.
Sure. Thank you so much. And again, Check the Rhymes TV. And so bye from North Carolina.
Thank you for joining me, Shamika. Bye, everyone. Thanks for the sharing and joining us for this discussion. I'll put the links down below. And as always, you know where to find me.